I was tired of working on that project proposal, so I decided to take a trip. I needed to get away and see the world. My real parents and that fake Emily were really upset. They kept calling and texting, telling me I had to finish the proposal. But I was already on a cruise ship heading to Antarctica. It's a long story. My real parents told me that the person who turned in the best proposal first, either me or Emily, would get to run the family company. Emily turned in a proposal, and it was exactly the same as mine. Everyone started saying I copied her and that I was just trying to cheat my way into getting the company. I tried to tell them the truth, but nobody listened. Emily even made fun of me online, saying things like, how could someone like me who'd never even traveled write a good proposal? It got so bad. People online were awful, and some crazy people even pushed me into the street. Then I woke up, and it was the day my parents first told us about the proposal competition. They were standing right there, my dad in his suit, looking all serious but kind of nice, and my mom in her skirt, looking gentle. They said the same exact words as before. You and Emily are both our daughters. To be fair, whoever submits the project proposal first will inherit the group. I grabbed the necklace I was wearing, trying not to cry. I'd somehow gone back in time. As soon as they left, my coworker Lily came over and gave me a hug. She looked really excited. Sarah, we all know how good you are. You'll definitely get that proposal in before Emily. If you need anything, just ask. Another coworker, Mark, smiled and said, yeah, Sarah, you're amazing at your job. Writing a proposal will be easy for you. We can't wait to call you our boss. Hearing them say that, I squeezed my hands into fists. My fingernails dug into my skin. In my past life, I didn't get the company. Everyone thought I copied Emily. People online were so mean to me. Only Lily and Mark believed me and tried to defend me, but nobody cared. It even made things bad for them because people made fun of them for supporting me. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath to calm down. The Emily everyone was talking about is actually my parents' adopted daughter. We were switched when we were babies. She grew up rich, spoiled, and outgoing, like a little prince. I grew up in a tiny apartment with a huge family crammed into a space that was only 400 square feet. When my real parents found me, I was taking care of my adoptive mom, who was about to have her seventh baby. My real parents didn't like how I was living. They decided to keep Emily and raise both of us. They wanted us to compete fairly. Whoever turned in the proposal first would get the company. Emily turned hers in a day before me, and it was identical to mine. Everyone said I was a copycat and that I had no shame. My proposal was something I worked on a little by little, staying up late every night. How could anyone think I copied it? And I couldn't believe it. I ran to the office to look at both proposals, mine and Emily's. I flipped through them again and again, completely shocked. Her 30,000-word proposal was exactly the same as mine, even the formulas and calculations. Some parts had my own little ways of doing things, and she had copied those too. I tried to think of how it could have happened, but I couldn't figure it out. Someone asked Emily about it on her social media, where she was always showing off. She replied, all innocent. I have no idea why. Maybe it's a talent, since my sister has only gone to high school. Because she had so many followers, her words made everyone look at me. The insults got worse. Think you're special just because you're the real daughter? Inherited business smarts? Cheating and caught, what a joke. Your real parents rescued you from being poor. Be thankful and stop trying to steal a company from the girl they spent so much money raising. Some people shouldn't want things that aren't theirs. Her adoptive family had 6 other daughters. She only finished high school. What does she know about proposals? Can't even copyright. Every word hurt. I snapped back to the present, looking at the office computer. I had used it to write the proposal before. Could Emily have gotten into my files through the company's computer system? I shut down the computer. I decided to buy a laptop. If I didn't work on it at the company, she couldn't get to it. I'd make changes, write a whole new proposal. There was no way it would be the same this time. On the way to buy a computer, I thought about things. My parents were obviously closer to Emily. I mean, they spent over 20 years raising her. Sometimes they'd be laughing and talking with her, but they'd stop as soon as I came in. But I couldn't say they treated me badly. They made sure I had everything I needed, and they even gave me an expensive necklace. It took them half a month just to order it. When they suggested I compete with Emily, they hired another company to judge, so it would be fair. When people were bullying me online, they comforted me and booked me a trip to help me relax. Looking down at the necklace, I promised myself I wouldn't give up this time. No matter what Emily did, I was going to show my parents and everyone else that even though I didn't have much schooling, I was smart and capable, just like a daughter from a rich family should be. I went into a computer store, picked out a new laptop, and had the salesperson set up a really complicated password and lock. I was worried about accidentally connecting to the company network, so I wrote the password on a piece of paper and kept it with me all the time. After all that, I put the laptop safely at home before going to work. I'm sitting at my office computer, pretending to work, but I'm actually playing games. My coworker Lily came over and saw me gaming instead of working. She was totally shocked. "Sarah, why are you playing games? Aren't you supposed to be working on the proposal? Are you giving up on competing with Emily?" I smirked. "No way. From today until I finish my proposal, I won't do any office work here. Even if Emily wants to copy my proposal, she has to figure it out at home. I've turned off the internet on the office computer and locked it up. There's no way she can get to my computer now." I looked over at Emily, who was sitting a little ways away from me. She joined the company after me, and now she's sitting there, all relaxed, playing with her phone. She doesn't look stressed at all. I was calm, too. Even though I only finished high school, I met a lot of important people when I was working odd jobs. One of them, a company owner, asked me to work for him. It was there that I learned how to write proposals and work on projects. I got a lot of experience. If my parents hadn't brought me back, I would have stayed at that company for sure. I like the business world where it's all about what you can do, not who your family is. Since I'm the real daughter and I have the chance to run the company, I'm going to try my hardest. My phone buzzed. Emily's show-off account had a new post. She posted some pictures of herself at her desk, looking all stylish and perfect. Her caption said, "I must work hard on my proposal and rely on my own skills to inherit the company." In the comments, her followers were praising her and cheering her on. Emily's amazing. Rich, well-educated, and so hardworking. Does a rich heiress really have to compete to inherit the company? Someone responded, "You're so behind. See the girl just behind her? That's the real heiress after a baby swap years ago." I zoomed in on the picture Emily took. She got me in it too. I wasn't wearing makeup, I had on big black glasses, and I was squished into the corner of the photo, looking all awkward. I didn't even look as good as the ugly duckling. Her fans started commenting right away. "Oh, so this is the daughter they found? So plain. Not even close to as charming as Emily. So what if she's the real daughter? Without a fancy education, what kind of proposal could she write? Emily's going to win for sure." Emily replied to one, "Don't say that, it takes courage for my sister to compete with me." Fans rushed to praise her for being so nice. I closed her account page, grabbed my bag, and went home. Sure, Emily's education is fancy, but it's all because my parents spent a ton of money on it. At the company, she's either on her phone or taking pictures. She can't write a proposal to save her life. Even with all her showing off online, she won't steal my proposal. I'm going to win. I locked myself in my room and stayed up all night. I got half of my proposal done. But as soon as I finished, I saw Emily updated her account, saying she had half her proposal done too. My eyes widened as I checked her account. She posted a photo of herself looking busy at her desk, along with some screenshots of her proposal. She wrote, "Stayed up and got half of it done. I'm amazing." I made her proposal screenshots bigger and compared them to my laptop screen. They were exactly the same. How could this be happening? Last time it happened the same way. After I was accused of copying her proposal, Emily went live, wondering aloud why I copied her work. She said our parents would give me a lot of money even if I didn't get the company, so I'd be comfortable for life. Eventually, she cried and said, "If my sister really wants the company, I'll let her have it." Her fans got so angry. "Sarah's so shameless. Wake up and look at yourself. Emily's so sad. She won fairly, but she has to give it up. Seriously, respect the competition. Why do this now? So disgusting. A poor girl who grew up in the slums, how dare she think she's good enough to run the company?" I couldn't understand why Emily copied my proposal, only to accuse me of copying her. I made an account to explain my side, saying Emily was the one who copied, but it didn't help. While I was stuck trying to defend myself, my parents, as the heads of the company, gave an interview. Dad looked hurt. I wanted fair competition. I never thought Sarah would do something like this. Mom was crying. It's my fault as her mother for not giving Sarah enough security. I hope you won't be too hard on her. I'll teach my child myself. Their words made me feel so ashamed. Online, I was harassed with calls and mean messages. Meanwhile, Emily dramatically took over the company's leadership and everyone cheered. People praised my parents for being fair, saying they made the right choice. The company's stock price went way up. Everything was great except for me. My parents insisted on sending me overseas for a trip. I didn't want to go, but my usually gentle mom was upset. Emily's in charge now. How long are you going to keep making a fuss? Haven't we been good enough to you? I had no choice but to go to the airport with them. But while waiting by the road for the family car, a group of angry people online pushed me into traffic. Thinking about all this, I angrily deleted the half of the proposal I had written. So it's only half. I'll just write it again. I got up, made some coffee, and started a new outline for the proposal. Once I finished, I locked the laptop back in the safe before letting myself sleep. The next day, yawning all the way to work, Lily rushed at me with her phone. You didn't stay up all night playing games, did you? Emily stayed up working on her proposal. You better hurry up. I was about to explain when I saw Emily's latest post on Lily's phone. Not feeling too satisfied with myself, I went ahead and wrote another plan draft. I'm awesome. I grabbed the phone from Lily's hand and zoomed in on the picture. It felt like someone poured ice water all over me. My whole body was freezing. The plan draft Emily just released looked exactly like the one I wrote. Everything spun around me, and I had to hold onto the table just to stay standing. My head was spinning, and I couldn't figure out why. I've already stopped working on the company computer. My home computer is brand new, and I've turned off the internet on it. I even changed the password on my safe. Or did something go wrong? Just as I was thinking that, Emily showed up for work. Morning, sis. I was up all night working on the plan. So tired. She yawned as she walked over, acting all cute. Then she innocently asked, How much did you write? Sis, if you're later than me, I won't go easy on you. I stayed silent, just staring at her. She gave me a knowing smile and went to her desk. Emily knows what she's implying, and so do I. But if I run out and accuse her of copying my plan, they'll just think I'm crazy. She's like a princess, raised by her wealthy family, learning about business from her parents since she was a kid. And then there's me. I grew up in the slums, never went past high school, going from one odd job to another. Anyone would think, if our plans were the same, I'd be the one copying her. I sat at my spot, reading Emily's Instagram comments, almost glaring a hole through them. Someone asked Emily, Even though you're competing with Sarah, you still posted your plan on Instagram. Aren't you worried she might copy it? Emily replied, Nope. I agreed to fair competition with my sister. Her plan is definitely not the same as mine. Underneath that tweet, tons of people were praising her. If you ask me, whoever can handle it should just take over the company, skip the contest. Princess Emily is so sweet and kind. Keep an eye on that girl from the sticks. I'm worried jealousy might push her to do something bad. Our family's firm was hired by the group to oversee it. No way we'll be swayed. We'll protect Emily no matter what. If that hick dares to copy your plan, she'll end up with nothing. Emily has been showing off expensive things online since middle school, and she has a huge number of followers. Whatever she posts, people see it. She kept updating the contest to the point where everyone online knew. I haven't done anything yet, but they're all assuming I'd copy. With a mocking smile, I looked over her posts again. There's a mistake I made late at night, planning to fix it today. Her plan has the same error. How did that happen? Could my room be bugged? My laptop is new, but the safe isn't. It was already there when I moved in. It's gotta be the safe. I didn't even bother asking for time off. I rushed out and grabbed a taxi to a small internet cafe about 10 kilometers away. I'd worked there before, And the owner was someone from out of town who wouldn't have any connections with Emily. She couldn't have gotten to this. Finding a quiet spot, I started working on the plan again. I rewrote the entire structure and filled it with new content. From early morning to late at night, I kept at it until I had 90% done. The conclusion needed some thought. With fresh eyes on the new plan, I felt a warmth in my eyes. This version is way better than any before. I poured everything I learned into it. I plan to get up early tomorrow, finish it at the cafe, and hand it in right at 8 a.m. Emily can't beat me this time. I printed the plan and erased all traces from the computer. No saving it on the computer or sending it anywhere this time, just paper. Nothing can go wrong now. Just as I was leaving, the cafe owner invited me for some late-night food. I joined their family for a plate of stir-fried noodles. It was the most comforting meal I've had in forever. But before I could finish, a message popped up from Lily. "Sarah, hurry up and look," Emily tweeted. She said she's almost done and might submit it tomorrow. I froze, grabbed my phone, and checked Instagram. Emily's latest photo, it's the same plan I just wrote. Alongside is a selfie of her, stretching in front of her computer. The caption reads, "Finally done. I can submit it tomorrow." How is it the same? And she's finished too? How? Stumbling back home, I found Dad, Mom, and Emily on the couch. Mom was feeding her fruit. "One more bite, just the last one." "I've eaten enough already, I'm sick of it," Emily pouted, cuddling into Mom's embrace while nibbling a grape. "If you're tired of it, we'll switch things up. Whatever my darling likes, we'll get it," Mom teased, tapping her nose. Suddenly, I felt a pain in my chest. My bag slipped from my hand with a thud. All three turned to look at me. Mom forced a smile, beckoning, "Sarah, come sit down." I plopped onto the couch beside them. Emily still clung to Mom, tilting her head. "Sis, finished the plan yet?" I struggled for so long and finally did. "Dad," Emily called over to Dad, who was reading. "We've worked so hard. How about a trip abroad on you?" Putting his book down, Dad grinned warmly. "You're my daughters. I should treat you girls. It's what dads do." "Dad, you're the best. Love you the most." Emily beamed sweetly at Dad. Mom pretended to be grumpy. And who is it that just said they love Mom the most? Suddenly, I felt out of place. Before Emily could say more, I murmured, "Not done yet." "It's tough," Emily nodded. "It's really tough. Even with everything I picked up at Dad's company, this one's a challenge." Dad looked at me without any surprise, saying, "The company's proposal might be a bit tough for you." "No worries. See it as a learning opportunity." Mom agreed. "Yeah, even if Emily inherits the company, we'll never treat you unfairly. You're both our children, and it will always be fair." Their faces seemed completely fine, no sign of anything unusual. I stood up, ready to head back to my room, reaching out to pick up my bag that had fallen on the floor, but I fumbled and it dropped again. One of the printed proposal pages slipped out. Emily picked up that piece of paper before I could grab it back. It was too late. She looked at what was written, frowning. "Why does your proposal look exactly like mine, sis?" I tried reaching for it again, but Emily, being taller and healthier, held it out of my reach. Both Mom and Dad walked over, looking serious. Dad grabbed my bag, taking out the stack of papers, growing more stern with each page. "Sarah, I didn't expect you to plagiarize." Mom stared at me with disappointment. "Sarah, if you can't write it, just tell us. We haven't forced you. How could you copy Emily's proposal?" Emily clenched that piece of paper, tears smudging her perfectly done eye makeup. "It's my fault," she cried. "Even though I'm not biological, I shouldn't inherit the company despite working hard. I'll just move out." Mom tried to console her. "You're not the one who plagiarized. There's no way we'd let you leave." "Have they already decided I plagiarized?" I frowned, looking at Emily. "I didn't copy. I wrote and printed this myself. You're the one who copied." "But I posted it on Twitter an hour ago, sis," Emily cried like a delicate flower. "I published first and you printed it afterward." "Really, I wrote it myself." "Mom, Dad, you have to believe me." I looked at them pleadingly. Being my biological parents, they should believe me. But Dad said, If you didn't copy, show us the computer where you wrote it. Bring out the records. Emily immediately suggested, Sis bought a new laptop a few days ago. It must be there. We just need to compare. Then bring down the laptop. We surely don't want to wrongly accuse you. Mom looked at me anxiously. I started sweating. Nothing was on that laptop. I had wiped it clean. There were no traces on the cybercafe computer either. Now, aside from my own word, there was no proof that I wrote this proposal myself. How did things get this bad? I spoke with a dry throat. The computer's broken. Upon hearing this, Emily turned to Mom, beginning to cry again. Mom, I was only trying to help clear my sister's name, but the computer's broken. How can this be on me? I think I should just leave. Mom held Emily, crying along. My dear, don't cry. It breaks Mom's heart. Tears flowed as she glared at me, her softness gone. Sarah, you're ungrateful. How could you treat Emily this way? Dad, stern-faced. Sarah, I have no daughter like you. How dare you plagiarize and blame others? Did nobody ever teach you how to behave? Each hurtful word hit me hard, leaving me shaking and speechless. Come, rethink your actions with me. Mom dragged me back to my room, pulling me so hard some hair strands fell off. Think hard about whether what you did was right. Once you figure it out, I'll send you abroad. You won't need to come back. I struggled to get up. I'm not leaving. I didn't plagiarize. But Mom just gave a cold glance, slamming the door behind her. I couldn't hold on anymore, collapsing on the floor. I didn't want to go abroad. The last time, that accident shattered my bones. It hurt so much. A new phone notification rang. I crawled to the phone and saw it was another update from Emily. This time, she posted a few photos with red, swollen eyes from crying. Maybe it's my fault. I shouldn't have hoped for something that isn't mine. With this tweet, her fans were heartbroken in the comments. What happened to Emily? Is that country bumpkin bullying you? Insider info. The bumpkin copied Emily's proposal and even accused Emily of stealing. How can she be so vile? No way! I'm going to get revenge for Emily. Poor Emily. Is it her fault she was switched at birth? Why harm her just because she's the adopted one? Being the biological one doesn't mean Emily should concede. Emily wrote that proposal through her own capabilities. Furious netizens flooded Emily's comments, cursing me. I put my phone down and quickly wiped my tears, staring blankly out the window. Why can't I change anything, even with a second chance? I'm so exhausted. Deep in thought, I suddenly heard the window shatter. Looking up, I saw something red thrown at me and someone was breaking the glass. The person mouthed the words, "Stay away from Emily." My body froze, trembling as I backed away. The person smirked triumphantly. I made up my mind, knocking hard on the door. Mom, open up. I've thought it through. I'm going abroad. On the way to the airport, Mom sat beside me, smiling with a gentle warmth. She said what I said last night about not coming back. It was just out of anger. There's no way we'd stop you from coming back. Have fun. Tell us when you're tired. It seemed like the harsh, cold Mom from last night was just my imagination. I nodded, smiling casually. Lily messaged me. Sarah, heard from Emily you're on leave. You're so talented. Are you really giving up? I replied lightheartedly. I'm planning to travel abroad. Been thinking about it for a long time. Need a break. Lily sent back a disappointed emoji. With experience from before, I was cautious throughout, safely reaching the departure hall with Mom. I said farewell to her, then walked inside. She planned for me to go to France, saying I had lots of relatives there who could look after me. I was about to go through security when I overheard a girl nearby on the phone saying, "Don't try to find me. I'm headed to Antarctica. Don't bother me with anything." As soon as I heard that, I was intrigued. I walked over and asked her if people can actually visit Antarctica. She laughed and said, "Of course you can. There's even a spot left in our tour group. Interested? I can check with the guide for you." I nodded eagerly and she went off to find the guide. Emily was active again on social media, posting yet another selfie. This time, the caption read, "Project proposal submitted. Fingers crossed that Dad, the CEO, is impressed." A quick glance at the comments showed nothing but praise for her. I chuckled, realizing none of it mattered anymore. The girl returned quickly with the guide. He showed me his credentials and even their official social media. They were a legit agency. He said, "We have experts explaining things. You're in luck. Usually it's hard to get tickets at the last minute, thanks to some cancellations." I pulled out the card my parents had given me, but after a moment's thought, I used my card from my own savings from working instead. With all the tickets bought, I joined the tour to Antarctica. It was my first time on a boat for that long, getting so seasick I thought I'd pass out. But seeing whales gave me an incredible sense of vitality I'd never felt before. Eventually, we reached an area with cell service and my phone buzzed. It was Mom. "Sarah, didn't you leave the country?" she asked anxiously. I looked at the endless sea around me. "I did." She asked again, "Your aunt said she didn't meet you." But before I could answer, the signal was gone again and I had to put my phone away. I couldn't really help it if I didn't get her calls. And so, I was cut off from the world for days until we returned to somewhere with a signal. Opening up my messages, I found one from Lily. "They're saying you quit over plagiarism." I clicked the link she sent and was stunned. A so-called housekeeper had posted my proposal online. Finally, people understood why Emily was crying so much earlier. They were angry, ranting about it. Shameless jerk? No wonder Emily was so upset it was copied. A country bumpkin who can't write and just plagiarizes. So embarrassing. Shouldn't have even brought her home in the first place. Yeah, let her stay with her adoptive family till she rots. Then, Emily tweeted, "No need to freak out, everyone. My sister's on vacation abroad. Don't bother her. Today, our company will live stream my proposal for you all to see." This tweet sent her followers into a frenzy. She's traveling after doing that? Should sell her organs, right? Feed her to the fish. I checked the live stream time and realized it was in 5 minutes. Conveniently, just as I had internet access, she went ahead and submitted the proposal. I couldn't wait to see how people reacted to it. As the live stream began, Emily, wearing a cute dress, started explaining her proposal, reading it word for word. Her fans filled the chat with compliments, calling her smart and beautiful. I smiled a bit and kept watching. Emily finished with a bow. "That's all for my presentation." But an expert sitting in the audience asked Emily, "Are you sure you're done?" Emily smiled even brighter. "Of course." The expert adjusted his glasses, looking serious. "Your proposal is missing the most crucial parts, the expectations and results. You said you did the work, but how well was it done?" "We don't know." Emily froze. "That's impossible. I completed it." Her fans lashed out in the chat. "What expert? Emily said it's done." "Useless expert, I could do better." Meanwhile, one lone comment in the chat said, "It's definitely not complete." That user was insulted before they proved their education and work credentials, shutting up the critics. Another expert raised a point. "You said your proposal is based on the current situation. Could you elaborate on your approach?" Emily was silent for a long stretch before stammering, I. Several experts shook their heads. The third expert spoke. "If your company really considers this incomplete proposal, feel free to use it." But he chuckled lightly, leaving his sentence unfinished. Emily's face turned beet red as she was visibly unable to respond, and people on social media suddenly got it. So she's the clown who can't even think for herself. Turns out she's the plagiarist. Poor Sarah, the true heir, is tarnished by an imposter. Looks like genes don't lie. How could such parents have a smart daughter? The fake's true colors finally showed. I've wondered for a while, why does Sarah, the legit heir, have to compete with someone who was accidentally switched? It's ridiculous. And to top it off, Sarah's parents still treat Emily as their own? That's just tragic. Emily's complexion ran from flushes of red to pale as she ended the live stream abruptly. Yet her earlier buzz turned against her, and angry netizens pushed Emily into the trending topics for all the wrong reasons. I was over the moon with laughter. Even the Antarctic snow seemed whiter. Is that a citrine crystal? Not cheap, is it? The girl I met at the airport leaned in to take a closer look at my necklace. I took it off and handed it to her. I gazed at the necklace with mixed feelings about my parents. Like the netizens said, they planned to switch me and Emily, yet they treated her so well. The light through your crystal isn't right, the girl noted, examining it against the sun. I'm studying gemology, and this one is split and glued back together. See? With the snowy backdrop of Antarctica, the oddities were even more pronounced. There was something inside. The girl's words hit me like lightning. There was something inside the yellow crystal. But this crystal was something my parents spent a lot of money and time custom making for me. Yet custom made? It took a good 2 weeks. I was desperate to know what was inside, so I ran to ask the tour guide. He told me the ship had a cutting machine, and they could help me cut it open. But he tried to talk me out of it. This crystal seems valuable to me. Isn't it a shame to cut it? I shook my head. I was determined. When the crystal was finally cut, everyone in the tour group gathered around. The crystal was quickly opened, and a small black object fell out. A spy camera, someone gasped. With trembling hands, I picked it up and inspected it again and again. It was indeed a camera. No wonder Emily could always copy my work immediately, no matter what changes I made. No wonder my parents, although clearly favoring Emily, gave me such an expensive yellow crystal necklace and proposed a fair competition. It was all a ploy to rightfully place their beloved Emily in the heir's position. Yeah, they cared so much about their reputation. How could they just give the company directly to an adopted daughter? Everything made sense now. Who's nasty enough to hide a camera in your necklace but also spend a lot of money on a yellow crystal? Someone asked me. I laughed. It's not strange. I'm a girl lacking both money and love. Only when they gave me something expensive and reminded me to wear it would I be careful to put it on every day. This made me mistakenly believe they loved me while they carried out their plan. I casually tossed the necklace into the sea. It gurgled and released a few bubbles before disappearing. By the time I got a signal again, we were almost home. Mom finally called me again. Sarah, where on earth have you been? Come home and we'll change your last name. The company and house will be yours in the future. I smiled serenely. No need to change it. Sarah is just fine. Then I hung up. In my past life, I couldn't understand why they wouldn't change my last name, even though I was their daughter. Emily was only the adopted daughter, yet she got the family name. But now, I'm not obsessed with it anymore. At the airport, I saw the news on the big screen. After the scandal broke about parents mistreating their real daughter and favoring the adopted one, the stock price plummeted. To stabilize the stock, my parents sent Emily back to her biological parents. Her real mom had just happily given birth to a 7th child, finally having a son. The 5 older sisters had long run away. Emily couldn't escape, so she was stuck at home babysitting every day. People flooded Emily's social media with harsh comments, but she never updated it anymore. My parents came crying to me, begging me to come back. My dad said, "If you don't return, the group will go bankrupt for real." Mom kneeled down, holding my hand. Sarah, I was really wrong. Please come home. I shook my head firmly, refusing. I turned back to the boss who had previously invited me to his company. While I worked there to earn money, I had tutored his son, which made him notice me. Since then, he admired my work skills and had long invited me to work there. When I joined his company, they were planning a trial merger with my parents' group. Originally, they didn't involve me to avoid suspicion, but I volunteered to join. Participating in such a big merger would help me learn a lot. After the acquisition of the group was completed, I was exceptionally promoted to vice president because of my excellent work. After the celebration party, I walked out of the hotel and saw an old couple hunched over, blaming each other. It's your fault. You said Emily was more like a real lady and only liked Emily. Putting the camera in the crystal was your idea. You bought the camera. As they argued, they wrestled with each other until they slipped on the snowy ground and fell, struggling to get back up. I got into the car. It slowly drove on the snowy road. Outside the window, a woman holding a little boy trudged along. An older woman was hitting her, fist by fist. It was Emily. She wore a worn-out cotton coat, nothing like the glamorous persona she once flaunted online. I turned my head to look forward. These people no longer mattered to me. The snowy road was difficult, but if you go slowly, you can walk steadily.